Good morning. We're about to get started shortly. Anybody that's not in uniform, please come and take a seat. That's for you guys out there by 325. Please come take a seat.
When does the general go?
To speak?
No.
What's up? Good morning, everyone. I'd like everyone to remain standing as we present the color guard. Will everyone remain standing as I invite Captain Antonio Quinones to sing our national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Captain. Please retire the colors. Please remain standing. I would like to introduce FDNY Chaplain, Father Hoffman, who will deliver the invocation.
Let us recall that we are in the presence of God. Living God, we come before you today to remember and pray for all of our fallen brothers and sisters who perished on this day 23 years ago. We also pray for those who have died from illnesses that attacked them during the ensuing years. Lord, we give you thanks for giving them to us. They were living models of bravery, self-sacrifice, and generosity. We gather together to celebrate them and to remember the ultimate sacrifice that they all made to keep us safe and continue to make so that we can live free. We give you thanks for giving them to us and offering them to us as models of sacrifice, generosity, commitment, and love. We ask that you hold them in the palm of your hand and that you continue to show those who are alive and suffering your love and generosity. Give us the grace to learn from these heroes and to imitate them by lives of service. Help us to keep their memories alive, not just one day of the year, but every day and all time. Give us the gift of keeping their memory alive for others, especially a new generation, in the way we speak of them and tell the story of their heroism. We ask you, Lord, to embrace them in your love, to bless and strengthen their families, and to keep all of us safe today and always. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deputy Chief Kevin Ramdale, and we would like to welcome you to our annual September 11th Remembrance Ceremony here at Fort Totten. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of our dais. We kindly ask that you please hold your applause until the end. Chief of EMS, Michael Fields. Commanding General, 99th Readiness Division, Major General Chris Bellinger. Assistant Chief of EMS Operations, Paul Miano. Queensborough Commander, Assistant Chief of Fire Operations, Joseph Ferrante. Installation Commander, Fort Totten, Colonel Jonathan Steinbach. Installation Commander, Fort Totten, Colonel Clinton Meade. Command Sergeant Major, 99th Readiness Division, Corey Thompson. Chief of EMS Academy, Deputy Assistant Chief, Tanya Boyd. Chief of EMS Operations, Deputy Assistant Chief, Grace Cacciola. Chief of Emergency Medical Dispatch, Deputy Assistant Chief, Denise Werder. Chief of City South Operations, Deputy Assistant Chief, Joseph Pataki. Chief of City Central, Deputy Assistant Chief, Stacy Scanlon. Deputy Commissioner, Lizette Christoph. Deputy Commissioner, Barbara Dannenberg. Deputy Commissioner, Don Ewan. New York State Assembly, Edward Braunstein. New York City Council Member, Vicky Palladino. Local 2507, Vice President, Michael Greco. And you already met Father Hoffman. American Airlines Flight 11 has struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Let us now bow our heads in a moment of silence. I would like to introduce EMT Andrew O'Rourke, who will deliver the Remembrance Prayer.
Good morning. Today we remember the bravery of the 343 members of this great department who made the supreme sacrifice 23 years ago today so that others could be saved. 23 years ago today, members gathered in their firehouses and EMS stations to begin another day of service to the people of the city, not knowing what the day would bring. This can be said about every day in the life of career first responders. On September 11th, 2001, the department lost not simply 343 members, but we lost one member 343 times. Today we come together to remember each of these individuals. We also come as a fire department family to give strength and support to each other. We continue to honor the memory of our 343 fallen members and their contribution to this department, the city, and the country. We will never forget them. Thank you.
Thank you, EMT O'Rourke. I would like to introduce the Chief of EMS Academy, Tanya Boyd, who will say a few words.
Good morning, honored guests, colleagues, families, and friends. Today, we gather to remember and reflect on the events of September 11, 2001, a day that forever changed our city, our country, and our world. It is a day etched in our collective memory, a day when we witnessed unimaginable acts of terror, but also unparalleled acts of heroism, compassion, and unity. On that day, 23 years ago, our city was struck by unspeakable tragedy. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost. Among them, 343 of our FDNY brothers and sisters. These firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians rushed into danger with a singular purpose: to save lives. They ran into burning towers, climbed smoke-filled stairwells, and performed their duties with courage and selflessness that is beyond measure. They did not hesitate. They did not falter. They did what they were trained to do, what they were called to do, and in doing so, they made the ultimate sacrifice. Since that horrific day, we have lost an additional 371 members that have succumbed to 9/11 illnesses. We can never forget. To the families of those we lost, no words can fully express the depth of our sorrow or the breadth of our gratitude. Your loved ones are heroes in the truest sense of the word, and we will forever honor their memory. They were more than just responders. They were more than just first responders. They were fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, and friends. Their legacy lives on in each of us in the work we do and in the lives we save. They will never be forgotten. September 11th was a day of unimaginable loss, but it was also a day that showed the world what New York City is made of. In the face of terror, we came together as one community, one family, bound by our shared values, courage, resilience, and compassion. We saw the best of humanity that day. And to all that offered help in any way that they could, whether it was rescuing people, providing first aid, or donating blood, we stood united, not just as New Yorkers, but as Americans. And today, 23 years later, we still stand united. As we reflect on this solemn anniversary, let us recommit ourselves to the values that define the FDNY in this great city. Let us honor the legacy of those we lost by living each day with the same spirit of service, sacrifice that they embodied. Let us ensure that their courage is never forgotten and that their spirit lives on in everything we do. We have a duty to not only for ourselves, but for our future generations. We have a duty to remember. It is our responsibility to share the stories of bravery and sacrifice and to teach the lessons of that day and to instill in the next generation the importance of service, duty, and love for one another. To all who wear the uniform today, remember that you carry on a proud tradition of those who came before us. You are the guardians of their legacy. And every time you answer a call, every time you help someone in need, you honor their memory. Today, we remember. Today, we honor. And we continue to stand together as one, united by our shared commitment to serve, to protect, and to love for this great city and all its people. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. And may God continue to bless the FDNY.
Thank you, Chief Boyd. I would like to invite Chief Boyd and Chief of EMS Michael Fields to water the memorial trees and lay a wreath to tribute on the wall. would like to introduce Major General Chris Bellinger, who will say a few words.
Good morning, distinguished guests and visitors. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this annual commemoration. It is truly an honor and privilege to stand before you today in remembrance of those who have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice in the wake of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks against our nation. Today, I would like to share brief histories of the 6 soldiers of the United States Army Reserve's 77th Regional Support Command, which was headquartered here at Fort Totten, and they lost their lives at the World Trade Center 23 years ago today. 5 of these heroes also served as New York City firefighters. We tell their stories so that we never forget those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, because freedom is not free. Lieutenant Colonel William Pullman was a military lawyer in the Bronx. Pullman was working as Assistant Commissioner in the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance on the 87th floor of Tower 2 when the second airplane hit. The son of German immigrants, Pullman received his law degree from St. John's University in 1968. An active member in his community, Pullman was a volunteer fireman and a perennial Republican candidate in Ardsley, New York, where he and his family lived. Captain Michael Mullen was a firefighter, a nurse, and a soldier. A resident of Bayside, Queens, and a member of Ladder Company 12, he was reported missing in the early hours after the World Trade Center attacks. Mullen was conducting rescue operations in the second tower shortly after the first tower had collapsed. When he reached the third-floor stairwell, the tower began to lose stability, and the firefighters were told to evacuate. Mullen received an emergency Mayday call from 2 other firefighters on a higher floor. The building collapsed shortly thereafter. Captain Mark Whitford's desire to help people kept his dream of becoming a firefighter alive. Shortly after graduating from Seton Hall University, he found himself donning a firefighter's uniform with the FDNY. As a soldier, he was a leader who led by example. His courage led him to rush into the World Trade Center to save lives as people frantically ran for their lives. In addition to firefighting and soldiering, he loved wrestling. The National Collegiate Athletics Association awarded him the Medal of Courage and inducted him into the Wrestling Hall of Fame in Oklahoma. Warrant Officer 1 Richard Buca was a 23-year veteran of the Fire Department of New York and served with Engine 95 Ladder 2. The Fitness Unit Rescue 1, and the FDNY Terrorist Task Force. He rose to the position of Fire Marshal in 1992. He was heading toward the 74th floor of the second tower when he was separated from his supervisor, who left to help a woman out of the tower. He was still in the tower when it collapsed. He was the first FDNY Fire Marshal to be killed in the line of duty. Buca was also a licensed practical nurse and an enlisted soldier for 29 years who had recently been promoted to warrant officer in the Army Reserve. Staff Sergeant Frederick Ill perished helping others. He died the way he lived, as an everyday hero. To his fellow soldiers, he was always ready to go out of his way for anyone. As a captain in the New York Fire Department, he once saved the life of a man who was pushed onto subway tracks. Just 11 minutes after the first tower was struck, he was called to the scene. He made the decision to enter the burning towers. He didn't ask anyone to do anything he wouldn't do himself. This decision caused him to make the supreme sacrifice. At no time did he question his duty or his dedication. Sergeant Sean Powell of Engine 207 dedicated his life to caring for others, also serving as a non-commissioned officer in Army healthcare. On September 11th, he went into the World Trade Center with Engine 207 and never came out. A graduate of George Washington Vocational and Technical High School, he enrolled in the architecture program of the New York Technical College, and while attending, he graduated from the Fire Academy in 1996, 4 years after he had joined the Army Reserve. These 6 soldiers were part of the first round of casualties in a global war on terrorism that would last for more than 2 decades on 2 major fronts. Today, Our nation faces a complex national security environment in a rapidly changing world. Since our establishment in 1908, the Army Reserve has continuously and consistently answered the nation's call, and we have always delivered. We will be called again, and we will be ready. Thank you to the 77th Regional Support Command for preserving the history of these 6 soldiers in a 2008 publication titled The Liberty Torch. And thank you all for the support you give our troops as they continue to keep Liberty's torch lit around the world. Please do not forget them, as you have not forgotten the heroes honored here today. May God bless you, our service members and first responders, our families, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Major General. At this time, I would like to invite Major General Bellinger and Colonel Steinbach to water the memorial trees and lay a wreath to the tribute wall. United Airlines Flight 175 has struck the South Tower of the World Trade Center. Let us bow our heads in a moment of silence. I would like to invite Chief Ferrante, Chief Miano to water the memorial trees and present a second wreath on the tribute wall. the dais to pay their respects to the tribute wall. Members of the dais, you could pay your respects to the tribute wall.
Members of the department who made the supreme sacrifice while operating at Manhattan Box 558087 World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. First Deputy Fire Commissioner William M. Feehan. Chief of Department Peter J. Gansey, Jr. Assistant Chief Gerard A. Barbara. Assistant Chief Donald J. Burns. Deputy Chief Dennis A. Cross. Deputy Chief Raymond M. Downey, Sr. Deputy Chief Edward F. Garrity. Deputy Chief Charles L. Casper. Deputy Chief Joseph R. Marchbanks, Jr. Deputy Chief Oreo J. Palmer. Deputy Chief John M. Paolillo. Chaplain Father Michael F. Judge. Battalion Chief James M. Amato. Battalion Chief Thomas P. DeAngelis. Battalion Chief Dennis L. Devlin. Battalion Chief John J. Fanning. Battalion Chief Thomas J. Farino. Battalion Chief Joseph D. Farrelly. Battalion Chief Joseph Greslak. Battalion Chief Thomas T. Haskell, Jr. Battalion Chief Brian C. Hickey. Battalion Chief William J. McGovern. Battalion Chief Louis J. Modaferri. Battalion Chief John M. Moran. Battalion Chief Richard A. Prunty. Battalion Chief Matthew L. Ryan. Battalion Chief Fred C. Sheffield, Jr. Battalion Chief Lawrence T. Stack. Battalion Chief John P. Williamson. Captain Daniel J. Brethel. Captain Patrick J. Brown. Captain Vincent E. Brunton. Captain William F. Burke, Jr. Captain Frank J. Callahan. Captain Martin J. Egan, Jr. Captain Michael A. Esposito. Captain John R. Fisher. Captain Vincent F. Giamano. Captain Terrence S. Hatton. Captain Walter G. Hines. Captain Frederick J. Ill, Jr. Captain William E. McGinn. Captain Thomas C. Moody. Captain Daniel O'Callahan. Captain William S. O'Keefe. Captain Vernon A. Richard. Captain Timothy M. Stackpole. Captain Patrick J. Waters. Captain David T. Woolley. Lieutenant Joseph Agnello. Lieutenant Brian G. Ahern. Lieutenant Greg Atlas. Lieutenant Stephen J. Bates. Lieutenant Carl J. Bedigian. Lieutenant John A. Crissy. Lieutenant Edward A. Diatri. Lieutenant Manuel Del Valle, Jr., Lieutenant Andrew J. Desperito, Lieutenant Kevin W. Donnelly, Lieutenant Kevin C. Dowdell, Lieutenant Michael N. Fodor, Lieutenant David J. Fontana, Lieutenant Andrew A. Fredericks, Lieutenant Peter L. Freund, Lieutenant Charles W. Garbarini, Lieutenant Ronnie E. Geese, Lieutenant John F. Ginley, Lieutenant Jeffrey E. Gouja, Lieutenant Joseph P. Gullickson, Lieutenant David Halderman, Lieutenant Vincent G. Halloran, Lieutenant Harvey L. Harrell, Lieutenant Stephen G. Harrell, Lieutenant Michael K. Healy, Lieutenant Timothy B. Higgins, Lieutenant Anthony M. Jovic, Lieutenant Thomas R. Kelly, Lieutenant Ronald T. Kerwin, Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy, Lieutenant Michael F. Lynch, Lieutenant Patrick J. Lyons, Lieutenant Charles J. Margiata, Lieutenant Peter C. Martin, Lieutenant Paul R. Martini, Lieutenant Paul T. Mitchell, Lieutenant Dennis Mojica, Lieutenant Raymond E. Murphy, Lieutenant Robert B. Nagel, Lieutenant John P. Napolitano, Lieutenant Thomas G. O'Hagan, Lieutenant Glenn C. Perry, Lieutenant Philip S. Petty, Lieutenant Kevin J. Pfeiffer, Lieutenant Kenneth J. Phelan, Sr., Lieutenant Michael T. Quilty, Lieutenant Ricardo J. Quinn, Lieutenant Robert M. Regan, Lieutenant Michael T. Russo, Sr., Lieutenant Christopher P. Sullivan, Lieutenant Robert F. Wallace, Lieutenant Jeffrey P. Walls, Lieutenant Michael P. Wacola, Lieutenant Glenn E. Wilkinson, Fire Marshal Ronald P. Buca, Fire Marshal Andre G. Fletcher, Fire Marshal Vincent D. Kane, Fire Marshal Kenneth B. Kumpel, Fire Marshal Paul J. Pansini, Firefighter Eric T. Allen, Firefighter Richard D. Allen, Firefighter Calixto Anea Jr., Firefighter Joseph J. Angelini Sr., Firefighter Joseph J. Angelini Jr., Firefighter Faustino Apostol Jr., Firefighter David G. Arce, Firefighter Louis Arena, Firefighter Carl F. Asaro, Firefighter Gerald T. Atwood, Firefighter Gerard Baptiste, Firefighter Matthew E. Barnes, Firefighter Arthur T. Barry, Firefighter Stephen E. Belson, Firefighter John P. Bergen, Firefighter Paul M. Beyer, Firefighter Peter A. Bielfeld, Firefighter Brian E. Bilcher, Firefighter Carl V. Beanie, Firefighter Christopher J. Blackwell, Firefighter Michael L. Bocchino, Firefighter Frank J. Bonomo, Firefighter Gary R. Box, Firefighter Michael Boyle, Firefighter Kevin H. Bracken, Firefighter Michael E. Brennan, Firefighter Peter Brennan, Firefighter Andrew C. Brunn, Firefighter Greg J. Buck, Firefighter John P. Burnside, Firefighter Thomas M. Butler, Firefighter Patrick D. Byrne, Firefighter George C. Kane, Firefighter Salvatore B. Calabro, Firefighter Michael F. Camerata, Firefighter Brian Canizaro, Firefighter Dennis M. Carey, Sr., Firefighter Michael S. Carlo, Firefighter Michael T. Carroll, Firefighter Peter J. Carroll, Firefighter Thomas A. Casoria, Firefighter Michael J. Cawley, Firefighter Vernon P. Cherry, Firefighter Nicholas P. Schiaffalo, Firefighter John G. Shapora, Firefighter Michael J. Clark, Firefighter Stephen Coakley, Firefighter Terrell Coleman, Firefighter John M. Collins, Firefighter Robert J. Cordice, Firefighter Ruben D. Correa, Firefighter James R. Coyle, Firefighter Robert J. Crawford, Firefighter Thomas P. Cullen III, Firefighter Robert Coratolo, Firefighter Michael D. Doria, Firefighter Scott M. Davidson, Firefighter Edward J. Day, Firefighter Martin N. DeMeo, Firefighter David P. DeRubio, Firefighter Gerard P. Dewan, Firefighter George DePasquale, Firefighter Gerard J. Duffy, Firefighter Michael J. Elferis, Firefighter Francis Esposito, Firefighter Robert E. Evans, Firefighter Terrence P. Farrell, Firefighter Lee S. Feeling, Firefighter Alan D. Feinberg, Firefighter Michael C. Fiore, Firefighter John J. Florio, Firefighter Thomas J. Foley, Firefighter Robert J. Foti, Firefighter Thomas Gambino Jr., Firefighter Thomas A. Gardner, Firefighter Matthew D. Garvey, Firefighter Bruce H. Gary, Firefighter Gary P. Geidel, Firefighter Dennis P. Germain, Firefighter James A. Giberson, Firefighter Paul J. Gill, Firefighter Jeffrey J. Giordano, Firefighter John J. Giordano, Firefighter Keith A. Glasgow, Firefighter James M. Gray, Firefighter Jose A. Guadalupe, Firefighter Robert W. Hamilton, Firefighter Sean S. Hanley, Firefighter Thomas P. Hannafin, Firefighter Dana R. Hannon, Firefighter Daniel E. Harlan, Firefighter Timothy S. Haskell, Firefighter Michael H. Haub, Firefighter John F. Heffernan, Firefighter Ronnie L. Henderson, Firefighter Joseph P. Henry, Firefighter William L. Henry, Jr., Firefighter Thomas J. Hetzel, Firefighter Jonathan R. Homan, Firefighter Thomas P. Holohan, Firefighter Joseph G. Hunter, Firefighter Jonathan L. Ielpi, Firefighter William R. Johnston, Firefighter Andrew B. Jordan, Sr., Firefighter Carl H. Joseph, Firefighter Angel L. Huarbe, Jr., Firefighter Paul H. Keating, Firefighter Richard J. Kelly, Jr., Firefighter Thomas W. Kelly, Firefighter Thomas J. Kennedy, Firefighter Michael V. Kiefer, Firefighter Robert C. King, Jr., Firefighter Scott M. Kopitko, Firefighter William E. Krukowski, Firefighter Thomas J. Kuvakis, Firefighter David J. LaForge, Firefighter William D. Lake, Firefighter Robert T. Lane, Firefighter Peter J. Langone, Firefighter Scott A. Larson, Firefighter Neil J. Levy, Firefighter Daniel F. Libretti, Paramedic Carlos R. Lillo, Firefighter Robert T. Lanane, Firefighter Michael F. Lynch, Firefighter Michael J. Lyons, Firefighter Joseph Maffeo, Firefighter William J. Mahoney, Firefighter Joseph E. Maloney, Firefighter Kenneth J. Marino, Firefighter John D. Marshall, Firefighter Joseph A. Mascali, Firefighter Keithroy M. Maynard, Firefighter Brian G. McAleese, Firefighter John K. McAvoy, Firefighter Thomas J. McCann, Firefighter Dennis P. McHugh, Firefighter Robert D. McMahon, Firefighter Robert W. McPadden, Firefighter Terrence A. McShane, Firefighter Timothy P. McSweeney, Firefighter Martin E. McWilliams, Firefighter Raymond M. Meisenheimer, Firefighter Charles R. Mendez, Firefighter Steve J. Mercado, Firefighter Douglas C. Miller, Firefighter Henry A. Miller, Jr., Firefighter Robert J. Manara, Firefighter Thomas Minggione, Firefighter Manuel Mojica, Firefighter Carl E. Molinaro, Firefighter Michael G. Montesi, Firefighter Vincent S. Morello, Firefighter Christopher M. Mozillo, Firefighter Richard T. Muldowney, Jr., Firefighter Michael D. Mullen, Firefighter Dennis M. Mulligan, Firefighter Peter A. Nelson, Firefighter Gerard T. Nevins, Firefighter Dennis P. Oberg, Firefighter Douglas E. Olschlager, Firefighter Joseph J. Ogren, Firefighter Samuel P. Otis, Firefighter Patrick J. O'Keefe, Firefighter Eric T. Olson, Firefighter Jeffrey J. Olson, Firefighter Stephen J. Olson, Firefighter Kevin M. O'Rourke, Firefighter Michael J. Otten, Firefighter Jeffrey A. Palazzo, Firefighter Frank Palumbo, Firefighter James N. Papageorge, Firefighter Robert E. Parrow, Firefighter Darrell V. Pearsall, Jr., Firefighter Christopher J. Pickford, Firefighter Sean E. Powell, Firefighter Vincent A. Princiata, Firefighter Kevin M. Pryor, Firefighter Lincoln Guape, Firefighter Leonard J. Regaglia, Firefighter Michael P. Ragusa, Firefighter Edward J. Roll, Firefighter Adam D. Rand, Firefighter Donald J. Regan, Firefighter Christian M. O. Regenhard, Firefighter Kevin O. Riley, Firefighter Jimmy Riches, Firefighter Joseph R. Ravelli, Jr., Firefighter Michael E. Roberts, Firefighter Michael E. Roberts, Firefighter Anthony Rodriguez, Firefighter Matthew S. Rogan, Firefighter Nicholas P. Rosamando, Firefighter Paul G. Ruback, Firefighter Stephen P. Russell, Firefighter Thomas E. Sabella, Firefighter Christopher A. Santora, Firefighter John A. Santor, Firefighter Gregory T. Sosito, Firefighter Dennis Scauzo, Firefighter John A. Shart, Firefighter Thomas G. Scholes, Firefighter Gerard P. Schrang, Firefighter Gregory R. Sikorsky, Firefighter Stephen G. Siller, Firefighter Stanley S. Smagala, Jr., Firefighter Kevin J. Smith, Firefighter Leon Smith, Jr., Firefighter Robert W. Spear, Jr., Firefighter Joseph P. Spoor, Jr., Firefighter Gregory M. Stajic, Firefighter Jeffrey Stark, Firefighter Benjamin Suarez, Firefighter Daniel T. Sir, Firefighter Brian E. Sweeney, Firefighter Sean P. Talon, Firefighter Alan Tarashevitz, Firefighter Paul A. Tegmeyer, Firefighter John P. Tierney, Firefighter John J. Tipping II, Firefighter Hector L. Tirado, Jr., Firefighter Richard B. Van Hine, Firefighter Peter A. Vega, Firefighter Lawrence G. Velling, Firefighter John T. Vigiano II, Firefighter Sergio G. Villanueva, Firefighter Lawrence J. Virgilio, Firefighter Kenneth T. Watson, Firefighter Michael T. Weinberg, Firefighter David M. Weiss, Firefighter Timothy M. Welty, Firefighter Eugene M. Whalen, Firefighter Edward J. White III, Firefighter Mark P. Whitford, Firefighter Raymond R. York. Retired members of the department and member of the Fire Patrol who died while operating at Manhattan Box 558087, World Trade Center, on September 11, 2001. Retired Captain James J. Corrigan, Retired Firefighter Philip T. Hayes, Retired Firefighter William Wren, Fire Patrolman Keith Roma.
Members of the department who died due to illnesses related to their work in the rescue and recovery effort at Manhattan Box 558087, World Trade Center, on September 11, 2001. Firefighter Gary E. Celentani, Firefighter Robert W. Dillon, Firefighter Van Clive A. Johnson, Firefighter Russell C. Brinkworth, Firefighter Edward V. Tejan, Firefighter Walter Voigt, Battalion Chief Kevin R. Burns, Firefighter Stephen M. Johnson, Lieutenant Richard M. Burke, Firefighter Michael Sophia, Firefighter Joseph T. Callahan, Firefighter Joseph P. Costello, Firefighter William R. O'Connor, Lieutenant Ronaldo Natal, Paramedic Deborah Reeve, Lieutenant Cruz Antonio Fernandez, Fire Marshal William Wilson, Jr., Lieutenant Thomas J. Hodges, Firefighter Robert J. Weber, Lieutenant Joseph P. Calalori, Jr., Firefighter Michael J. Shaggy, Firefighter William R. St. George, Firefighter Raymond W. Hauber, Lieutenant Brian Ellicott,
Firefighter William E. Moreau. Lieutenant John P. Murray. Firefighter Sean M. McCarthy. Firefighter Bruce M. Foss. Firefighter Jacques W. Paltry. Firefighter Martin C. Simmons. Firefighter Kevin M. Delano, Sr. Lieutenant Vincent J. Tancredi II. Paramedic Clyde F. Seeley. Firefighter Timothy G. Lockwood. Firefighter Anthony Alisi. Firefighter Edward F. Riley, Jr. Firefighter John F. McNamara. Lieutenant Thomas G. Roberts. Captain Kevin J. Cassidy. Firefighter Joan R. Daly. Firefighter Richard A. Manetta. Lieutenant Peter J. Fahrenkopf. Battalion Chief John J. Vaughn. Firefighter Robert A. Ford. Paramedic Corrine A. Brown. Firefighter James J. Ryan. Lieutenant Robert M. Hess. EMT Freddie Rosario. Lieutenant Harry Wanamaker, Jr. Supervisor Communications Electrician Philip J. Berger. Firefighter Vincent J. Albanese. Firefighter Robert J. Firefighter John P. Sullivan, Jr. Firefighter Roy W. Chelson. Firefighter William H. Quick. Lieutenant Andrew M. Borghese. Firefighter John F. O'Neill. Firefighter Willie T. Franklin, Jr. Lieutenant Randy J. Wieback. Firefighter Brian C. Malloy. Lieutenant John A. Garcia. Firefighter Anthony J. Nuccio. Fire Marshal Stephen C. Mosiello. Firefighter Carl Capobianco. Captain Emilio R. Longo. Firefighter Raymond Ragucci. Deputy Chief William J. Guido. Captain Sheldon Baracus. Firefighter Virginia A. Spinelli. Deputy Assistant Chief John S. McFarland. Lieutenant Robert J. Stegmeyer. Lieutenant Mark W. McKay. Firefighter Owen T. Carlock. EMT Anthony J. Ficara. Lieutenant Patrick J. Sullivan. Firefighter Michael F. Mangelli. Firefighter Lawrence J. Sullivan. Firefighter Michael G. Behetti. Battalion Chief Thomas R. Van Doren. Battalion Chief Richard E. McGuire. EMT Joseph V. Schumo. Paramedic Ruben I. Berrios. Firefighter Walter Torres. Battalion Chief John K. Corcoran. Firefighter Andrew D. Dal Cortivo. Lieutenant Martin T. Fulham. Firefighter Charles L. Jones III. Battalion Chief Richard D. Arazosa. Supervising Fire Marshal Emil K. Harnischfeger. Lieutenant Douglas Mulholland. Captain Peter J. Casey. Paramedic Rudolph T. Havelka. EMT Francis A. Charles. Paramedic John W. Wyatt. EMT Louis DePena. Firefighter Adolfo Otano. Lieutenant Michael F. Cavanaugh. Deputy Chief Inspector James W. Mandelkov. Lieutenant Thomas J. Graney. Firefighter Keith E. Atlas. Auto Mechanic Raphael E. Scarpitti. Lieutenant Walter J. Nelson, Jr. Lieutenant John J. Halpin. Captain William C. Olson. Lieutenant Stephen B. Reisman. Firefighter Ronald R. Brennison. Lieutenant John K. Grems. Firefighter Daniel E. Hegland. Firefighter Robert E. Lever. Lieutenant Howard J. Bischoff. Firefighter Cornell L. Horn. Lieutenant Thomas Giamarino. Firefighter Eugene J. McCary. Firefighter James J. Marshall, Sr. Firefighter Charles S. Zoki. Firefighter Richard E. Noggin. Battalion Chief John J. Cassidy. Captain John R. Graziano. Firefighter Gregory A. Chevali. Battalion Chief George D. Iser. Firefighter James M. Hicks. Captain John Gallagher. Lieutenant Keith M.
Lachlan, Captain Thomas J. Thompson, Lieutenant Harold E. McNeil, Sr., Lieutenant Gary J. Gates, Firefighter Dennis J. Heedles, Sr., Firefighter Nicholas J. Damazzi, Firefighter Thomas A. Lynn, Battalion Chief James N. Costello, Firefighter Frank D. Fontano, Firefighter Michael P. Smith, Firefighter Thomas J. Kelly, EMT Norman Valley, Firefighter Joseph A. Morstadt, Lieutenant Robert G. Alford, Firefighter Thomas Farrell, Firefighter Robert W. Johnson, Fire Marshal Gregorio Morales, Firefighter William E. Woodlawn, Lieutenant Ronald D. Biller, Captain Vincent R. Ungaro, Firefighter Paul F. Santoro, Firefighter Robert M. Gless, Firefighter John A. Dunn, Firefighter Harry L. Davis, Lieutenant Raymond W. Alexander, Firefighter Joseph P. O'Toole, Firefighter Kevin A. Rooney, Firefighter Brian J. Masterson, Firefighter Robert F. D. Giovanni, Lieutenant Edith E. Torres, Firefighter Robert E. Newman, EMT Rose M. Scott, Lieutenant Stephen Sorger, Lieutenant Mario Bastidas, Firefighter Roy E. Smith, Firefighter James J. Lanza, Paramedic Mark A. Harris, Firefighter Raymond J. Pfeiffer, Lieutenant William J. Kelly, Firefighter William J. Gormley, Firefighter John B. O'Brien, Firefighter Michael L. Duffy, Marine Engineer Robert W. Alexander, Battalion Chief Joseph D. McCune, Firefighter Michael R. O'Hanlon, Dr. Michael G. Gutenberg, Firefighter Robert M. Talarcio, Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough, Lieutenant Joseph R. Stack, Jr., Firefighter Raymond R. Phillips, Jr., Firefighter Ronald P. Sveck, Lieutenant Edward T. Meehan, Captain Victor C. Valva, Deputy Chief Joetti Frizzell, Firefighter Paul R. Tokarski, Pilot Thomas P. Phelan, Firefighter Keith R. Young, Marine Engineer John L. Bueller, Firefighter George F. Froelich, Firefighter Brent G. Kroback, Firefighter James J. Herson, Firefighter Robert J. Lembo, Assistant Chief Ronald R. Spadafora, Firefighter Charles Williams, Battalion Chief Robert P. Muccio, Firefighter Michael T. McDonald, Firefighter Jimmy Martinez, Firefighter Dennis G. Heaney, Firefighter John R. Elgis, EMT Felipe A. Torre, Paramedic Martha Stewart, EMT Joseph A. Rodriguez, Firefighter Daniel C. Bove, Captain John S. Moschella, Firefighter Richard H. Meehan, Lieutenant Timothy P. O'Neill, Firefighter Kevin E. Lennon, Captain Robert E. Collis, Lieutenant John T. Moran, Firefighter Joseph Walsh, Firefighter Lloyd W. Stewart, Firefighter Kevin J. Nolan, Firefighter Richard N. Driscoll, Auto Mechanic James J. Satilli, Firefighter Robert B. Fitzgibbon, Firefighter Walter E. McKee, Firefighter John W. Boyle, Firefighter Joseph R. Lucino, Firefighter Roger Espinal, Firefighter Richard J. Tanagretta, Firefighter Andrew S. Gargiulo, Lieutenant Richard G. Estreicher, Firefighter Clifford R. DeMuro, Captain Dennis M. Gilhooly, Firefighter Brian W. Cass, Firefighter Michael L. Feldman, Firefighter Richard B. Jones, Lieutenant Paul W. Deo, Jr., Firefighter Joseph A. Hatzelman, Firefighter Daniel R. Foley, Battalion Chief Dennis J. Moynihan, Lieutenant Donald Franz, Firefighter Anthony R. Irachi, Firefighter John H. Marr, Firefighter Paul J. Greco, Lieutenant Kevin C. Dunn, Firefighter Anthony J. Catapano, Firefighter Paul A. McManaman, Associate Electrical Inspector Michael Cavolius, Firefighter John P. Fogarty, Firefighter Timothy J. Burke, EMT Renee Sanchez, Lieutenant John P. Poulos, Firefighter William Hodgins, Fire Marshal Robert J. Kelly, Firefighter Thomas G. Manley, Firefighter Ronald P. Stores, Lieutenant Gerard C. McGibbon.
The time now is 9:37. Flight 77 crashes into the Pentagon. Let us bow our head in a moment of silence.
Firefighter Dennis A. Farrell, Firefighter George H. Wilton Jr., Firefighter Joseph M. Boyle, Captain Frank A. Portell, Firefighter Joseph K. Daly, Firefighter James D. Shaughnessy, Lieutenant James J. Winters, Captain John J. Galvin, Firefighter Sean D. Kenny, Firefighter Thomas G. Olkers, Firefighter James P. Wind, Firefighter Dennis J. Riley, Lieutenant Martin K. Farrell, Firefighter Anthony Malfi, Firefighter Wayne T. Gehring, Paramedic Stevenson McCoy, Lieutenant Patrick J. Whalen, Firefighter Stephen J. Riley, Firefighter Dennis B. McLean, Firefighter James J. Cody Jr., EMT Mark A. Weiner, Firefighter Michael J. Toll, Firefighter Patrick J. Lauro, Captain Charles Harris, Battalion Chief Arthur S. Lakiotis, Battalion Chief Ronald H. Kemley, Fire Marshal Michael J. Fedorowski, Assistant Chief Alvin J. Soriel, Firefighter James T. Redmond, Firefighter Andrew J. Hornbuckle, Lieutenant John P. Raftery, Firefighter Frank J. Gasparino, Firefighter Christopher P. Viviano, Captain Michael S. Early, Lieutenant Pablo Guzman, Battalion Chief Edward J. Tierney, Firefighter Frederick H. Gallagher, Deputy Chief Richard J. Chatterton, Firefighter Gregory J. Lamanna, Captain Michael J. Lyons, Firefighter James Walsh, Lieutenant John A. Vigliotti, Firefighter Alfred J. Artisona, Supervising Fire Marshal John J. McCauley, Firefighter Robert R. Reynolds, Firefighter Michael Verzi, Deputy Chief Vincent J. Mandala, Firefighter Dennis J. Komar, Captain Faye Bauman, Lieutenant Gloria Gordon, Lieutenant Bowden C. Malmbeck, Firefighter Russell Feliciano, Dr. Sabina B. Ostolsky, EMT Stephen Thorson, Lieutenant Arthur J. Darby, Firefighter Richard C. Toshik, Supervising Fire Marshal James E. Devery, Firefighter Edward V. Ronick, Captain Paul W. Smoltzreed, Firefighter Ronald J. Kirchner, Firefighter William M. Hughes, Firefighter Greg Lawrence, Battalion Chief Joseph A. McKee, Lieutenant James F. McCauley Jr., Battalion Chief Stephen J. Garrity, Firefighter George J. Triptree, Firefighter Peter A. Chiodo, Firefighter John F. McDonald, Battalion Chief Brian E. O'Flaherty, Firefighter Michael J. Arriaga, Firefighter Thomas D. Healy, EMT Patricia Scaduto, Lieutenant Michael G. Hance, Lieutenant Donald J. Kelly, Firefighter Thomas J. McDougall, Marine Wiper Bruce Pete, Lieutenant Joseph Brosey, Battalion Chief James J. Hanley, Firefighter Victor A. Cantelmo, Battalion Chief Vincent G. Lyons, Paramedic Peter L. Bushy, Paramedic Paul Daniels, Captain Gary A. Nybro, Firefighter James C. Major, Firefighter Douglas F. Harkins, Lieutenant Richard Kobe, Fire Marshal Carl J. Cedarholt, Lieutenant James J. Burns II, Firefighter Michael T. Costa, Captain Neil R. Farrow. Lieutenant Michael J. Higgins, Lieutenant James K. Donahue, Firefighter Thomas W. Anderson Jr., Firefighter Kevin R. Kelly, Firefighter Robert M. Hughes, Firefighter Edward R. Pecoroni, Senior Supervisor Communication Electrician John Fiorentino, Firefighter Robert E. Welsh III, Firefighter John Tiska Jr., Firefighter Albert A. Filosa, Paramedic Andrew J. Enderis, EMT Hilda L. Vanata, Firefighter Robert V. Folco, Firefighter Mark R. Seno, Battalion Chief Christopher D. Scalone, Chaplain Reverend Monsignor John E. Delendek, Firefighter Michael W. Daly, Captain Luke M. Lynch, Firefighter Harold J. Johnston, Electrician Joseph Berardi, Lieutenant Stephen A. Asara, Firefighter William R. Bartholomew, Captain Stephen Berube, Firefighter Michael J. Chiaffi, Firefighter Robert M. Kelly, Firefighter Frank A. Caputo, Captain Robert R. De Leon, Jr., Battalion Chief Kevin S. Blaine, Lieutenant Michael J. Shanley, Firefighter Stephen G. Radich, EMT Christopher Swarkowski, Lieutenant Charles J. Maniscalco.
At this time, I would like to invite retired members Yvette Perez and Ray Simmons of the Retiree Association to lay the final wreath at the memorial.
Group. Halt. Left face. Present arms. Lieutenant Colonel William Pullman, Captain Michael Mullen, Captain Mark Whitford, Warrant Officer 1 Ronald Buca, Staff Sergeant Frederick Ill, Sergeant Sean Powell. Order, arms. Right face. Forward, march. Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right.
Please be seated. At this time, I would like to invite FDNY Chaplain Father Hoffman back up to the podium to deliver the benediction.
Loving God, we have come here today to commemorate those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and who now live in the glory of your kingdom. We ask you to help us never forget them and preserve their memory by learning from them to live lives of sacrifice, of generosity, and to use our gifts and talents for the betterment and service of others. We ask you, Lord, to hold those beloved who made the sacrifice on this day and afterwards live with you forever and share in your glory and peace. Amen.
Thank you, Father Hoffman. Thank you all for coming to commemorate the events of September 11th, 2001, and to honor and remember all who have lost and continue to lose their lives. We want to acknowledge and thank the FDNY Retirees Association for their contribution to this ceremony. We also want to acknowledge and thank Locals 2507, 3621, and the Superior Officers Association and the U.S. Army for their contribution and support for this event. At this time, we would like to invite everyone inside of the first floor auditorium of Building 325 for refreshments. Thank you, and God bless.